Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through a topic that honestly affects almost every single one of us. I mean, if you use a smartphone, check an email, or log into a bank account, this is for you. Today, we aren't just looking at a dry list of crimes. We're unpacking the 2025 FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center, or IC3, annual report. But you know what? I want you to think about this document a little differently. Think of it as a staggering multi-billion-dollar earnings report for a massive, highly organized, and completely illegal global economy.
Nearly $21 billion. Almost $21 billion. Let that sink in for a second. That is the total reported financial loss to cybercrime in 2025 alone. And this isn't just a tiny bump from previous years either. This represents a massive 26% increase in losses from 2024. The scale of this underground economy is expanding at an absolutely breathtaking pace. And these bad actors, well, they're cashing in like never before.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to break down this dense data into some really clear, digestible insights. We'll start with the sheer scale of this $20 billion problem, uncover exactly who the victims are, analyze the cybercrime business model, high volume versus high impact, explore some wild new digital frontiers, and finally, wrap up with how law enforcement is actually fighting back. So part 1, the $20 billion problem and 25 years of escalating cyber threats. The publication of this data actually marks a really big milestone. It's the 25th anniversary of the FBI's IC3 acting as the central hub for tracking all these digital crimes. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole picture. When you look at the trajectory of financial losses over the last 2.5 decades, you don't just see a flat line or occasional random spikes. You see a steep, relentless upward curve. Back in 2001, total reported losses were around $17.8 million. Today, it has literally skyrocketed past that $20 billion mark. This is the visual definition of an escalating threat. But let's take those massive, kind of abstract numbers and bring them down to a human scale. The FBI notes in this report that they received over 1 million complaints in 2025. But what does that actually look like on the ground? Well, like the quote says, we now average almost 3,000 complaints per day. Imagine that. Every single day, nearly 3,000 individuals or businesses are realizing they've been compromised, hacked, or defrauded, and they're reaching out to the FBI for help. It is just a relentless daily barrage. Which brings us to part 2, who are the victims? The demographics of digital devastation. Because, an illegal economy of this size doesn't just exist in a vacuum. Real people are footing the bill. Now, what's really interesting about the official breakdown of complaints and total financial loss by age group is that it paints a very clear, disturbing picture of targeted vulnerability. Every single demographic is targeted. Literally nobody gets a free pass on the internet. But as you look closer at the data, it becomes incredibly clear who actually suffers the most financial damage. To put that into perspective, I want to strongly juxtapose the two extremes of the age spectrum. Look at the under 20 age group, about 31,000 complaints and roughly $67 million in losses. Now, look at the 60-plus demographic. They submitted over 201,000 complaints. And the result? A completely heartbreaking $7.7 billion in losses. The elderly are disproportionately bearing the absolute brunt of the financial devastation in the cybercrime economy. All right, part 3, high volume versus high impact. Let's analyze the mechanics of the cybercrime business model. To truly decode this report, we have to separate the crimes that happen all the time from the ones that cause the most damage. Some crimes happen with incredible frequency, right? Like phishing and spoofing. With over 191,000 complaints, this is low-effort bait. Criminals are just casting a massive, cheap net, hoping anyone clicks a bad link. But then you have the other side of the coin. Crimes that happen less often, but cause catastrophic damage. Take investment fraud, coming in at an astonishing $8.6 billion in losses. That's not a quick click. That is a highly manipulative, high-impact, long con designed to completely drain a victim's life savings. If we quickly walk through the top 5 crimes by sheer volume, you really see the relentless daily grind of a cybercriminal's operation. Right behind phishing, we've got extortion, investment scams, personal data breaches, and non-payment or non-delivery scams. These are the persistent, everyday threats clogging up our personal inboxes and text messages. They rely on overwhelming numbers to just find vulnerable targets. But when we flip the metric to financial loss, wow, the leaderboard changes significantly. The crucial point here is that while phishing is super common, the real money is made through complex deception.
Actually, look at that top number again. 8.6 billion just for investment fraud, followed by business email compromise at over 3 billion. Add in tech support scams, data breaches, and romance scams, and you'll see that cyber-enabled fraud is responsible for almost 85% of all the financial losses reported. It's a wildly lucrative enterprise.
Moving into part 4, new frontiers, specifically cryptocurrency and artificial intelligence. Because the cybercrime economy, it isn't stagnant. Just like legitimate tech companies, these bad actors are rapidly adopting emerging technologies. So prepare yourself for a secondary shock here. Over $11.3 billion of the total 2025 losses were tied directly to cryptocurrency. Think about that for a second. We established earlier that the total losses for the year were around $20.8 billion. That means more than half of the entire global financial damage reported to the FBI is now moving through the complex, decentralized, and honestly hard-to-trace world of crypto. That's like pouring rocket fuel on a fire. And right behind crypto, we have the rapid rise of artificial intelligence. AI-related crimes accounted for nearly $900 million in losses in 2025. Criminals are leveraging AI to write absolutely flawless phishing emails, generate deepfake audio to impersonate loved ones in a panic, and automate their attacks at a scale we've never seen before. As these tools become more accessible, this number is virtually guaranteed to climb. Finally, part 5, fighting back, how the IC3 is disrupting this illegal economy. Now, I know all this data can feel pretty overwhelming, but the FBI isn't just passively sitting around logging complaints. They have a powerful, unified defense system actively working to fundamentally shift the cost away from victims and back onto the adversaries. Let's move to and see how this builds. It starts with a collection of public reporting, then comes analysis to identify trends and freeze fraudulent transactions fast. Third is referral and enhancement, packaging data for local, state, and international cops. Fourth is global coordination, 24/7, 365. And finally, public awareness, getting the word out so we can recognize these schemes before it's too late. And the best part? This system actually works. When the public participates and reports crimes quickly, law enforcement can strike back hard. Take Operation Level Up, for example. This was an FBI-led initiative specifically targeting those highly damaging crypto investment scams we talked about earlier. By leveraging their intelligence, this single operation reduced potential losses by more than $500 million since 2024. I mean, that is $500 million kept out of the hands of cybercriminals.
So, what does this all mean for us? The FBI's 2025 IC3 report is a major wake-up call. It's never been more important to be totally diligent with your electronic interactions. So I want to leave you with the challenge. With technologies like AI actively accelerating these $20 billion threats, are you actively auditing your own digital footprint, your privacy settings, and your personal cybersecurity today? Knowledge is power, for sure, but only if you actually use it to protect yourself. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and seriously, stay safe out there.